the UK government only finished paying back compensation to slave owners. So that was owners of enslaved people who lost their commodities when slavery was abolished in 1833.
I don't like clowns.
Roll the camera, roll the camera, roll the camera.
This is crazy.
Wow.
So for everybody to keep asking me about where's my 6 kids' daddy at, let me let y'all know. So my first baby daddy, which was my first love, and he's the father of my oldest, he has transitioned from Tony to Tracy. And he is now living in Atlanta, Georgia, dressed fully as a female. And he does not want to have anything to do with his child. My second baby daddy was kicked in the chest by a horse. It gave him an instant heart attack and he died. My third baby daddy, just a deadbeat. I didn't know that he was married, and when I told him I was pregnant, he confessed to her what the situation was and all that. She went with it, and now we're just waiting on the DNA test to come back so that they can pay child support. Well, she's going to pay child support because, as I stated, he a deadbeat, he ain't got no job, and by them being legally married, she works to bring in the income, she will be the one that be paying the child support. What? My fourth baby daddy decided he wanted to fucking be a pirate and go rob the boat freights and shit like that. So he is now serving 20 years. When he gets out, my child will be 25. And my last 2 kids have the same father, and he is 72 years old, living in a nursing home with dementia.
Well, yeah.
I'm not a fan of reparations. I'm not entirely sure that people in the 21st century should be apologising for and trying to make good for horrible things that happened in the past, because the past pretty much until 100 years ago was horrible for virtually everyone. Some people had it more badly than others, but pretty much everyone had a horrible, horrific, terrible life. And I'm not entirely sure what reparations do to solve that. Why do you think this is a good idea? 52 million quid.
Well, the thing is, the UK government only finished paying back compensation to slave owners. So that was owners of enslaved people who lost their commodities when slavery was abolished in 1833. We only finished paying that back in 2000.
It cost the country a fortune to abolish slavery.
For £300 million. £20 million in 1833, £300 million in today's money. So, and at that point, that was compensation paid back to slave owners. But at no point has any reparations been paid back. And I don't just believe that reparations should be money. I think it should be actions as well. But no reparations have been paid back to enslaved people and their descendants.
Well, there can't be to enslaved people because they died a long time ago.
Of course, and millions of African people died in the journey trying to just make it to the Americas, to the Caribbean, wherever.
Yeah.
And reparations, the definition of it is redressing gross violations of human rights, which enslaving millions of people was.
Clearly.
And it's not just about the money. It's also about redressing inequalities that exist today, which are a hangover, if you will.
And certainly, look, America,
slavery.
until very, very recently, I mean, only, in our lifetime, well, certainly my lifetimes, people did not have equality as a result of that. Different situation here in the UK. We didn't import slavery. People who live in this country are people who have chosen to live in this country. But you're in a situation where, look, it was black Africans who sold other black Africans to white Europeans.
Get your motherfucking reparations
from them
To sell to plantations in America. It was an appalling abomination of a crime. It has happened in every society, every empire. throughout history. It is still happening now. Far more black Africans were sold by Arab slave traders to go east.
What about them? Why should they get a pass?
All of it was horrific and awful. Thank God we helped abolish it. I think Britain should stand proud in the world for the fact we were the first empire to say, no, we're going to abolish this. They paid the slave owners because that was the quickest and best way of stopping this trade. What is the point of paying reparations now to, say, for instance, a young black woman like yourself? In what way do you need to be given recompense for what happened to perhaps some of your ancestors many, many years ago? Does Oprah Winfrey, as a black woman in America, a multimillionaire, billionaire, does she need to have reparations being paid?
I think the point of reparations, like I said, it's about redressing this gross violation of human rights, which is something
you
that
can't redress it. But it happened.
But that's exactly. But it's something that we, like you said, we cannot deny that has happened.
No one's denying it.
And there has to be some sort of compensation paid. We can't just sort of carry on like we are now and not redressing the inequalities, which are the hangover from slavery that exists now. So basically, you have inequalities in the NHS, in the police
inequalities
service.
in the NHS.
Yeah, huge.
Because of slavery.
But
the slave trade is responsible for inequalities in the NHS.
The slave trade is responsible for the institutionalised racism that we have in different institutions in the United Kingdom. And
why don't we ask for reparations from African states that now exist now, or who are responsible for selling, rounding up, capturing other African people and selling them to white Europeans? Why don't we ask those states for reparations? Why don't we ask the Italians to pay for the invasions of the Romans and the enslavery of many people, the Celts and others here in the UK?
The question is, where do you stop? And again, it's not all about skin colour, because you look at the Irish that were brought into Great Britain to build the roads, to build everything else. And in the 50s, it was very common as you went round, you saw on the boarding houses, no blacks, no Irish. So we're grouped in together. So I think the issue is whenever we all try and
I just think we're still harping on about the past, and again, there's a horrible crime took place. I don't think we can build for the future. That's I fear we're going to talk to you about this again another day. I'm sure we will.
Because if we know who,
I cannot say.
anything further?
To be a dolphin. Maybe there still is a dolphin called Fungi. And should we get popcorn? Popcorn? Ow! Puppy! You want popcorn?
It is a messed up world.